Hello, and welcome to the Sleep with Science Facts. Tonight, we'll drift far beneath the surface of the ocean, descending slowly into a realm where sunlight fades and mysteries deepen. Down here, the water grows colder, colors soften into quiet shades of blue, and life begins to take on forms that seem almost impossible. Beneath the shimmering skin of the ocean lies a vast and unfamiliar world that covers most of our planet. And yet, humanity has explored only the smallest fraction of it. Mountains taller than Everest rise silently in darkness. Coral forests sway like living cathedrals in slow underwater currents. Whales sing across entire oceans in songs older than language itself. And in the deepest trenches, where sunlight has never reached, life glows softly in the dark. If you enjoy these quiet journeys into science and wonder, feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, or leave a thought in the comments below. It helps other wandering minds discover this place as well, one sleepy soul at a time. For now, just breathe slowly, let your eyelids grow heavy, and allow the deep sea to gently cradle your thoughts. Let's begin. Some jellyfish are essentially immortal. In the quiet depths of the ocean, where time seems to stretch and fold upon itself, lives a small and delicate creature that has discovered a way to nearly escape aging. The tiny jellyfish Turritopsis dohrnii begins life as a drifting speck. It grows, matures into an adult form, and then, when faced with stress, injury, or old age, it performs something extraordinary. Instead of dying, it reverses. Its cells begin transforming, turning the clock of life backward. The jellyfish returns to an earlier stage of development, becoming young again and beginning the cycle anew. Scientists call this phenomenon biological immortality. No other known creature has mastered this process so completely. While many jellyfish live fragile lives that last only months, this tiny species carries within its translucent body a secret of endless renewal, a rhythm of death and rebirth that echoes the slow breathing of the tides themselves. It does not defeat time. Instead, it dances with it, quietly, endlessly, returning again and again to the beginning. Giant squids have eyes the size of dinner plates. Far below the surface, in waters where darkness reigns without interruption, the giant squid drifts through the silent depths. Its eyes, each one as large as a dinner plate, stare into the black ocean with extraordinary sensitivity. These are the largest eyes known in the entire animal kingdom. They are enormous windows, nearly the size of a human head, built to capture the faintest traces of light. Scientists believe these immense eyes evolved to detect something very specific: the glow of massive predators like sperm whales moving through the abyss. Even the smallest flicker of bioluminescence stirred by movement can reach them. In that endless twilight, sight becomes survival. And these enormous eyes allow vision in places where vision should hardly exist at all. For centuries, the giant squid lived only in legend, whispered about by sailors who told stories of monstrous tentacles and ships dragged beneath the waves. Yet the truth may be even stranger. A vast, intelligent creature, perfectly adapted to a world without sunlight, seeing clearly with eyes designed for darkness itself. Octopuses can taste with their arms. Each arm of an octopus contains a mind of its own. Lined along every limb are hundreds of suction cups, and within those small circular cups lie clusters of sensory cells capable of tasting the world around them. When an octopus glides across coral or reaches deep into a crevice, it is not only touching, it is tasting. It can instantly recognize whether it has touched stone, shell, or living prey. Its entire body becomes a living map of sensation. Even more remarkable, its arms can act independently, exploring, reacting, and deciding without direct commands from the central brain. It is almost as if the octopus is made of 8 curious explorers, each one gathering information and working together in elegant coordination. This strange distribution of intelligence, mind flowing through muscle, gives the octopus a grace that feels almost alien. It does not think the way we do. It senses, it tastes, it decides. All at once, all over its body. A mantis shrimp's punch is as fast as a bullet. Hidden among coral burrows lives a small predator carrying a thunderous secret. The mantis shrimp, bright as a living gemstone, wields claws capable of striking with astonishing speed. When it attacks, its limbs move so rapidly that they create a pocket of superheated vapor in the surrounding water. As this tiny bubble collapses, it releases a shockwave powerful enough to shatter shells, crack glass, and smash the armored bodies of crabs. Scientists have measured these strikes at speeds comparable to a handgun bullet, delivered by a creature only a few inches long. The impact even creates a brief flash of light, a tiny underwater explosion. Meanwhile, the mantis shrimp's eyes are among the most complex ever evolved. They can detect ultraviolet light, polarized light, and visual signals far beyond the limits of human vision. To the mantis shrimp, the ocean is a rainbow universe we cannot perceive. Armed with thunderous speed and nearly supernatural sight, it carries a spark of cosmic power within a creature no larger than a finger. Sea cucumbers can eject their organs as a defense. Resting quietly on the ocean floor, the humble sea cucumber appears peaceful, slow, and almost defenseless. But when threatened, it performs one of the strangest defensive strategies in the entire animal kingdom. It ejects part of its own internal organs. Through a sudden muscular contraction, the sea cucumber expels sticky strands of its insides into the surrounding water. The tangled mass confuses predators and can entangle them long enough for the cucumber to escape. Some species even release toxic filaments capable of paralyzing small fish. To human eyes, the act appears almost like self-destruction. But for the sea cucumber, it is something very different. Within a few weeks, it regenerates everything it has lost. Stomach, intestines, and internal structures restored completely. This extraordinary regeneration is more than survival. It is transformation. Danger does not mark the end of the story, but the beginning of renewal. Slowly and patiently, the sea cucumber rebuilds itself from within. A quiet lesson in resilience beneath the calm surface of the sea. Blue whales sing songs that can travel hundreds of miles. The blue whale, the largest animal ever known to exist on Earth, communicates with sounds so deep that they seem to vibrate through the bones of the planet. Their calls travel for hundreds of miles through cold ocean water, low notes rolling outward like distant thunder. To other whales, these sounds form a map of presence, a way of saying across the emptiness of the sea, "I am here." Some of their calls are so low that human ears can barely detect them. Each whale develops subtle variations in its songs, long, mournful pulses that may serve as communication, navigation, or courtship. In the quiet stillness of the deep ocean, their voices become something like weather, shaping how other creatures move and respond. Across entire oceans, these giants sing to one another, their songs drifting through a liquid world older than memory itself. Anglerfish males fuse with females for life. In the crushing darkness of the deep abyss, the anglerfish drifts slowly through the cold water, carrying its own lantern. At the tip of a thin stalk above its mouth glows a living lure, illuminated by colonies of light-producing bacteria. But the most extraordinary mystery of the anglerfish is not its glowing light. It is its unusual way of love. In many species, the male anglerfish is tiny, sometimes hundreds of times smaller than the female. Fragile, short-lived, and wandering alone in an ocean so vast that finding a mate may take months or even years. When a male finally discovers a female, he bites gently into her side. And then, he never lets go. Over time, their bodies begin to fuse together. His skin merges with hers, their bloodstreams join, and his organs slowly shrink and dissolve. Eventually, the male becomes little more than a small appendage attached to her body. From that moment on, he exists as a permanent partner, providing sperm whenever she needs it, while receiving nutrients from her bloodstream in return. Some females carry several fused males along their sides, small living companions sharing the same body. What begins as a desperate search for a mate becomes a strange and permanent biological union, one of the most unusual partnerships in the natural world. A quiet merging of two lives in the eternal darkness of the deep, illuminated only by a small and patient light. Dolphins give themselves unique names through whistles. Among the many voices that ripple through the ocean, the sound of dolphins is one of the most expressive. Dolphins communicate with whistles, clicks, and bursts of sound that travel easily through water. But scientists have discovered something even more fascinating. Each dolphin creates its own distinctive whistle, a pattern of sound that functions almost like a name. These signature whistles allow dolphins to identify themselves and call out to others across long distances in the sea. When one dolphin hears the whistle of a friend or family member, it often responds with excitement, swimming toward the sound. What is remarkable is that these whistles are not simply copied. They are invented. Young dolphin calves develop their own unique whistles while still swimming beside their mothers. These sounds become their identity, an acoustic signature they carry throughout their lives. In experiments, when researchers play back a dolphin's own whistle through underwater speakers, the dolphin often responds immediately, recognizing the sound as itself. Even more astonishing, dolphins appear to remember the whistles of companions they have not seen for many years. These names may remain stored in memory for decades. Such behavior reveals something extraordinary about dolphin intelligence, self-awareness, social identity, and memory that blur the boundary between simple communication and language itself. In the shimmering blue of the ocean, each dolphin carries its own melody, a small song that quietly declares, "I am me." Some crabs decorate themselves with living sponges. In the ocean, camouflage is not merely a strategy, it can become an art form. Few creatures demonstrate this better than decorator crabs. These small crustaceans collect pieces of their environment, tiny fragments of sponge, seaweed, coral, or shell, and attach them carefully to the surface of their own shells. Their bodies are covered with microscopic hook-like hairs that act almost like Velcro, allowing them to fasten these materials securely in place. The result is a living disguise. A crab covered in seaweed may look like drifting plant life. One decorated with coral fragments may resemble a piece of reef. Some decorator crabs even trim pieces of sponge to fit their shells perfectly, encouraging the sponge to grow across their bodies like living armor. The relationship can be symbiotic. The sponge gains mobility and access to new feeding grounds as the crab moves across the seafloor. In return, the crab gains protection from predators who cannot easily distinguish it from its surroundings. Each crab develops its own decorating style, part instinct, part environment, like a small underwater artist assembling a costume. Scientists have even observed species that carry living sea anemones on their claws, using the stinging tentacles as defensive weapons. In the ocean, survival often means blending into the landscape itself, and these clever crabs have transformed adaptation into creativity. Seahorses are the only animals where males give birth. Among swaying fields of seagrass, the seahorse drifts upright in the water, delicate and dreamlike. When it comes to reproduction, seahorses follow a rule unlike almost any other creature on Earth. In their world, the male becomes pregnant. During courtship, a pair of seahorses performs an elegant dance, curling their tails together and moving in synchronized spirals through the water. At the height of this dance, the female deposits her eggs into a specialized pouch located on the male's abdomen. Inside that pouch, the male fertilizes the eggs and begins caring for them. Over the following weeks, he regulates the environment inside the pouch, controlling oxygen levels, temperature, and salt balance through a network of blood vessels. In many ways, the pouch functions almost like a placenta. When the time comes, the male enters labor. Through powerful contractions, he releases hundreds of tiny seahorses into the surrounding water, each one a perfect miniature copy of its parents. Then, quietly, the cycle begins again. Scientists believe this unusual role reversal may have evolved to increase survival, allowing both parents to share the burden of creating the next generation. In the calm, underwater world of seagrass meadows, the seahorse stands as a small symbol of tenderness, patience, and balance. A reminder that nature's imagination has no limits. The Greenland shark can live for over 400 years. In the icy waters of the North Atlantic drifts a creature older than many nations. The Greenland shark moves slowly through the dark water, its heartbeat steady and unhurried, sometimes beating only once every 12 seconds. Scientists studying these mysterious sharks have discovered something astonishing. Some individuals may live for more than 4 centuries. That makes them the longest living vertebrates on Earth. When some of these sharks were born, the world was still in the age of Shakespeare. For centuries, they glide through cold darkness, growing slowly, sometimes only a few centimeters each year. They feed mostly on fish and seals, moving through the deep ocean with patient calm. Their flesh contains unusual chemical compounds that act like antifreeze, allowing them to survive in freezing Arctic waters. Fresh, their meat is toxic to humans and must be fermented before it can be safely eaten. How these sharks live for such extraordinary lengths of time remains partly a mystery. Perhaps the extreme cold slows their metabolism so much that life itself seems to move more slowly within them. In those deep and ancient waters, the Greenland shark drifts like a quiet ghost, gliding through centuries with silent, patient calm. Deep-sea dragonfish have transparent teeth. The dragonfish is one of the most haunting creatures of the deep ocean. Its body is sleek and black, lined with faint glowing lights along its sides. But its most unusual feature lies inside its mouth. Its teeth are completely transparent. Constructed from a special crystalline structure, these teeth reflect almost no light at all. Even when the dragonfish opens its jaws, there is almost nothing to see. In the dark ocean depths, this makes the predator nearly invisible. Prey swimming nearby cannot detect the glint of teeth that would normally betray an attack. The dragonfish also carries a small bioluminescent lure beneath its chin, glowing faintly to attract curious creatures. When prey approaches, the dragonfish strikes with sudden speed, swift, silent, and precise. These fish inhabit depths where pressure would crush steel and darkness never lifts. Yet here they thrive. Armed with invisibility and light, the dragonfish becomes both hunter and phantom, a masterpiece of evolution sculpted by darkness itself. Some fish can walk on land using modified fins. Nature often blurs the lines between worlds, and some fish have taken this idea quite literally. The mud skipper is one of the most remarkable examples. Instead of spending its life entirely underwater, it thrives along muddy shorelines and mangrove forests where land and sea meet. Using strong, muscular fins, the mud skipper can crawl across wet ground, hop between pools, and even climb the tangled roots of mangrove trees. Its skin and mouth contain networks of blood vessels that allow it to absorb oxygen directly from the air. As long as its body remains moist, it can breathe outside the water for long periods of time. Other fish have developed similar abilities. The climbing perch, for example, can wriggle across dry land for surprising distances, traveling from one pond to another when water levels change. In tropical wetlands, this unusual mobility can mean the difference between life and death when pools dry out. Watching one of these fish move across land feels almost surreal. The smooth grace of swimming is replaced by a determined shuffle and awkward hops. Yet this strange ability carries an echo of one of the most important moments in the history of life. Hundreds of millions of years ago, the ancestors of amphibians took their first steps onto land. Every mudskipper alive today carries a faint memory of that ancient evolutionary leap. Electric eels can deliver shocks strong enough to stun horses. In the murky rivers of South America lives a creature that commands lightning. The electric eel, despite its name actually being a type of knife fish, generates powerful electrical charges within its body. Specialized cells, known as electrocytes, function like tiny biological batteries. When these cells discharge together, they release bursts of electricity that can reach up to 600 volts. That is enough power to stun large animals, including horses, and easily overwhelm fish or predators. The electric shock travels instantly through water, temporarily paralyzing prey and discouraging attackers. Even more astonishing, electric eels can control the intensity of their electrical output. Low-voltage pulses help them navigate through dark, muddy water by sensing objects around them, almost like a form of electrical radar. High-voltage bursts, however, are used during hunting. When an eel wraps its long body around a fish, it releases rapid pulses of electricity that force the prey's muscles to contract uncontrollably. The fish becomes completely immobilized. In this way, the electric eel combines power with precision. A living battery built by evolution. A thunderstorm contained within skin. And in the quiet rivers of the Amazon, it carries the spark of electricity itself. A blue whale's tongue weighs as much as an elephant. The blue whale is one of the most extraordinary animals ever to exist on our planet. Massive and serene, it can grow longer than a basketball court and weigh as much as 200 tons. Yet one of its most astonishing features is something surprisingly simple: its tongue. The tongue of a blue whale alone can weigh as much as an adult elephant, and its heart is roughly the size of a small car. Despite this immense size, blue whales feed on creatures smaller than a fingernail, tiny shrimp-like animals called krill. During feeding, the whale opens its enormous mouth and takes in vast gulps of seawater filled with krill. Then it pushes the water back out through rows of baleen plates that hang from its upper jaw like giant combs. These plates act as filters, trapping millions of krill inside. During feeding season, a single blue whale can consume several tons of krill each day. Its voice, deep and resonant, can travel across entire ocean basins. And though its heart beats slowly, sometimes only once every 10 seconds, each beat sends life surging through the largest body ever known. The blue whale is not merely large, it is an ocean in motion, a drifting continent of quiet strength and astonishing grace. Vampire squids use glowing mucus clouds instead of ink. In the ocean's twilight zone, where sunlight fades into endless darkness, the vampire squid drifts like a glowing ember. Despite its dramatic name, it does not drink blood. The name comes from its deep crimson color, and the cloak-like webbing that stretches between its arms. When threatened, the vampire squid performs a defense unlike almost any other creature. Instead of releasing a cloud of dark ink like most squids, it releases a cloud of glowing mucus. This sticky cloud sparkles with blue, bioluminescent light. The sudden burst of brightness distracts predators and confuses them long enough for the squid to disappear into the darkness. Along its arms are tiny organs capable of producing light, and its body pulses with faint glows that fade in and out like slow breathing. Even more remarkable, the vampire squid can survive in extremely low oxygen environments where most animals would suffocate. It drifts slowly through these silent waters, conserving energy and feeding on drifting organic debris. The vampire squid is not a monster. It is a survivor, an ancient lineage wrapped in quiet endurance, drifting between light and shadow in the endless night of the sea. The pistol shrimp creates a bubble louder than a jet engine. Small enough to rest comfortably in the palm of your hand, the pistol shrimp possesses one of the most powerful weapons in the animal kingdom. One of its claws is dramatically larger than the other, shaped like a miniature cannon. When the shrimp snaps this claw shut, it forces water forward with such speed that it creates a collapsing bubble of vapor. As the bubble collapses, it generates a shock wave that can stun or kill nearby prey. For an instant, the temperature inside that collapsing bubble becomes almost as hot as the surface of the sun. The explosion also produces a tiny flash of light, an effect known as sonoluminescence. The sound created by this snap is astonishingly loud, louder than a jet engine when measured relative to the shrimp's tiny size. The pistol shrimp uses these snaps not only to hunt, but also to communicate with others of its kind, creating bursts of clicking sounds that echo through coral reefs. In underwater recordings, entire reefs sometimes sound like crackling fire because of thousands of snapping shrimp. A reminder that immense power can hide within the smallest bodies. Some worms form living knots to capture prey. Deep in the ocean live strange predators known as ribbon worms. These creatures are long, slender, and graceful, sometimes stretching longer than a human body. But their hunting method is something extraordinary. Ribbon worms possess a specialized organ called a proboscis, which can shoot outward from their mouths like a living harpoon. In certain species, this structure unfolds into sticky threads that twist and knot around prey. The threads wrap around the victim in a living snare, binding it tightly before the worm slowly pulls the captured animal toward its mouth. Some ribbon worms also produce powerful toxins capable of instantly paralyzing crustaceans. Watching one feed can feel eerie and mesmerizing at the same time. Long tendrils drifting through darkness like ribbons in slow motion. These animals remind us that evolution's creativity knows no limits. In the abyss, survival depends on invention, and even the simplest bodies can perform astonishing feats of strategy and design. Sea turtles can detect Earth's magnetic field. Each year, sea turtles travel across entire oceans on long migrations that can span thousands of miles. What is even more astonishing is that they often return to the exact beaches where they were born. For decades, scientists wondered how these animals could navigate such immense distances across open water. The answer lies in an invisible sense: magnetoreception. Sea turtles can detect the Earth's magnetic field and use it as a map. Subtle differences in the field's intensity and angle provide clues about latitude and longitude. Even tiny hatchlings, newly emerged from their nests, can orient themselves toward the open ocean using this natural compass. Years later, after wandering across vast seas, those same turtles may find their way back to the same stretch of beach where they first hatched. It is a navigation system written into their biology, a connection between animal and planet. In a drifting ocean world, sea turtles follow paths traced not by landmarks or stars, but by the invisible magnetism of Earth itself. Some sharks glow green in the dark. When sunlight fades in the deep ocean, some sharks begin to glow. Species such as the chain cat shark and the swell shark possess skin that produces a soft green fluorescence under the blue light that filters through ocean water. Unlike many glowing sea creatures, this light is not produced by bacteria. Instead, special molecules in the shark's skin absorb light at one wavelength and re-emit it at another, creating a faint but eerie glow. To human eyes, this fluorescence appears subtle, almost ghost-like. But to other sharks, it may appear far brighter. Scientists believe this glow could help sharks recognize members of their own species in dim water. Each pattern of fluorescence forms a kind of biological signature. The patterns shimmer across their bodies like drifting constellations. There is also evidence that this glow may help camouflage the sharks from predators and prey by blending their outlines into the faint light filtering down from above. It is a quiet radiance, almost invisible unless the light is just right. A secret language of color written in darkness, shared only by the ocean's most graceful hunters. The barrel-eye fish has a transparent head. Imagine a fish whose skull is clear like glass. The barrel-eye fish drifts slowly through the black depths of the ocean, with a head enclosed beneath a transparent dome. Inside that dome sit its strange, bright green eyes. For many years, scientists believed these eyes were fixed in place. Only recently did deep-sea cameras reveal the truth. The eyes can rotate. They normally point upward, scanning the water above for prey silhouetted against faint light from the surface. But when the fish begins feeding, the eyes rotate forward. This allows the barrel eye to look both upward and straight ahead. The rest of the fish's body is small and delicate, but its head glows faintly from the internal organs suspended inside that transparent shield. This unusual dome protects the fish's sensitive eyes from the stinging tentacles of jellyfish, one of its favorite foods. The barrel-eye fish hovers almost motionless in the cold depths, conserving energy in the still water. Strange, delicate, and beautiful, it looks almost like a living window, a creature through which the ocean itself seems to gaze back. Some eels migrate thousands of miles to spawn only once. The life of an eel is a story woven from mystery. Many species begin their lives far out in the ocean, in places so remote that scientists have struggled for centuries to understand them. The European and American eels, for example, are born deep in the Sargasso Sea, a warm, quiet region of the Atlantic. As tiny, transparent larvae, they drift for months or even years on ocean currents. Eventually, they reach rivers and coastlines across Europe, North America, and parts of Africa. There, they transform, growing into sleek and muscular adults while living in freshwater lakes and rivers. For years, they feed and grow. Then, one day, something ancient awakens within them. Their bodies change, their eyes grow larger, their skin turns silver. They stop eating, and they begin a final migration back toward the open ocean. Thousands of miles against currents and across entire seas. When they finally reach the Sargasso Sea, they spawn and die. No human has ever directly witnessed an eel spawning in the wild. For centuries, their reproduction baffled naturalists. Even today, their exact routes remain partly unknown. The eel's life is a cycle of transformation and mystery, a journey across oceans that ends where it first began. Blobfish look normal at depth, but melt at the surface. The blobfish has become famous for its unusual appearance and is often called the ugliest animal in the world. But this reputation is deeply misleading. In its natural environment, thousands of feet beneath the ocean surface, the blobfish looks very different. Down there, the pressure of the water is immense, hundreds of times stronger than at the surface. The blobfish's soft, gelatinous body is perfectly adapted to these conditions. Unlike most fish, it does not have a gas-filled swim bladder to control buoyancy. Instead, its body has a density very close to that of seawater, allowing it to float effortlessly just above the sea floor. In this environment, the blobfish appears smooth and well-shaped. But when it is brought to the surface, the sudden drop in pressure causes its body to expand and lose its natural form. The soft tissues collapse into the sagging shape people recognize from photographs. In its true home, the blobfish is not grotesque. It is simply adapted to a world we rarely see. A quiet reminder that beauty often depends on context. Certain starfish can regrow an entire body from one arm. Sea stars possess one of the most extraordinary regenerative abilities in the animal kingdom. If a predator tears away one of their arms, the sea star can slowly grow the limb back. Over weeks, months, or even years, the arm regenerates completely. Nerves, muscles, skin, and the delicate tube feet used for movement. But some species go even further. If a severed arm still contains part of the central disc, the body's core, it can grow into an entirely new sea star. One creature becomes two. Scientists study this ability carefully, hoping to understand how regeneration might one day help humans heal spinal injuries or regenerate damaged tissues. The sea star's body is simple, decentralized, and remarkably resilient. Beneath the waves, regeneration is not unusual. It is simply another strategy for survival. For the sea star, every loss carries the possibility of beginning again. Hagfish release slime that can clog a predator's gills. Among the strangest creatures in the ocean is the hagfish. These ancient animals have no jaws and resemble long, slippery eels. But their most remarkable defense is slime. When threatened, a hagfish releases clouds of mucus from hundreds of tiny pores along its body. Within seconds, the surrounding water becomes thick and gelatinous. The slime expands rapidly, turning a small amount of mucus into liters of sticky material. If a predator attempts to bite the hagfish, the slime quickly clogs the predator's gills, forcing it to retreat or risk suffocation. Meanwhile, the hagfish performs another curious trick. It ties its own body into a knot. Sliding the knot along its body, the hagfish wipes away excess slime and frees itself from attackers. Though their appearance may seem unsettling, hagfish play an essential role in ocean ecosystems. They are scavengers, feeding on dead animals that sink to the sea floor and recycling nutrients back into the food web. They are living fossils, creatures that have survived for hundreds of millions of years with little change. Ancient survivors cloaked in slime and patience. Narwhal tusks are actually giant spiral teeth. In the icy Arctic Ocean swims one of the sea's most mythical creatures, the narwhal. From its head extends a long, spiraling tusk that can reach nearly 3 meters in length. For centuries, people believed this tusk was a magical horn, the source of legends about unicorns. But the tusk is not a horn. It is a tooth. Usually, the left canine tooth grows outward through the narwhal's upper lip, twisting in a long spiral. Inside this tusk lie millions of nerve endings. It is one of the most sensitive sensory organs in the animal kingdom. Scientists believe narwhals may use it to detect subtle changes in water pressure, temperature, or salinity. It may also play a role in communication or social interactions. Some males even grow 2 tusks. In the pale Arctic seas, narwhals travel in quiet groups beneath shifting ice. Their tusks flash through the cold water like frozen lightning. Nature's strangest designs often hide deeper purposes beneath their beauty. Some fish sleep inside bubbles of mucus. Among coral reefs, the parrotfish performs an unusual nightly ritual. As dusk falls and predators begin hunting, the fish secretes a transparent bubble of mucus that surrounds its body like a cocoon. Inside this delicate sleeping bag, the parrotfish rests. The bubble masks its scent from predators such as moray eels, making it more difficult to detect. It may also function as a kind of alarm system. If something touches the cocoon, vibrations ripple through the mucus and wake the fish. The bubble also protects the fish from parasites drifting through nighttime waters. When morning arrives, the parrotfish simply slips free from the cocoon and swims away. This strange habit is both simple and ingenious, a soft barrier between vulnerability and safety. Even in the wild ocean, creatures have their own bedtime routines. Moray eels have a second set of jaws inside their throats. Hidden within the long, sinuous body of a moray eel lies one of evolution's most astonishing inventions: a second set of jaws. These inner jaws are called pharyngeal jaws, and they sit deep within the eel's throat, waiting. When the moray captures prey with its outer jaws, the story is not finished. The inner jaws suddenly shoot forward from the throat, grasping the struggling animal and pulling it backward into the eel's digestive system. It is a mechanism strikingly similar to the fictional creature from the movie Alien, except that in the ocean, it is entirely real. This adaptation allows moray eels to hunt effectively within the narrow tunnels of coral reefs, where the usual suction feeding method used by many fish would not work. Watching a moray eel feed is both mesmerizing and slightly eerie. Two mouths moving in perfect coordination, their serpentine bodies and rows of sharp teeth give them a fearsome appearance. Yet most morays are shy animals that spend their days resting in rocky crevices. They are ancient predators, silent shadows of the reef. Sea spiders can carry their organs in their legs. The sea spider looks almost unreal. Its thin, delicate body and extremely long legs give it the appearance of a fragile skeleton walking across the ocean floor. Despite their name, sea spiders are not true spiders. They belong to their own unique group of marine arthropods. What makes them especially strange is the way their bodies are organized. Their central bodies are so small that many of their internal organs extend directly into their legs. Parts of their digestive system stretch down each limb, and in some species, even their reproductive organs are located there. This unusual design allows sea spiders to remain extremely lightweight and efficient. Blood slowly pulses through their narrow legs, distributing nutrients throughout the body. In polar waters, where oxygen dissolves more easily into cold water, some sea spiders grow surprisingly large, reaching the size of dinner plates. They move slowly across the seafloor on legs that appear almost too delicate for life. Yet they survive and thrive in environments that would overwhelm many other creatures. A reminder that fragility and strength are not always opposites. Sometimes they coexist in perfect balance. Some squid can turn their skin into living light shows. Squid are among the most extraordinary masters of disguise in the ocean. Embedded within their skin are millions of specialized cells known as chromatophores, iridophores, and leucophores. Each type of cell interacts with light in a different way. Chromatophores contain pigments that expand or contract, instantly changing the squid's color. Iridophores reflect light like tiny mirrors, producing shimmering metallic hues. Leucophores scatter light, helping the squid blend seamlessly into its surroundings. Working together, these cells allow a squid to transform its appearance in an instant. Patterns ripple across its body like liquid fire. Some species use these flashes of color to communicate, sending signals to rivals or potential mates. Others use them for camouflage, matching the patterns of sunlight dancing through waves above. In the deep sea, certain squid add another layer to this display by producing their own light through chemical reactions. The result is something extraordinary. A living canvas of shifting color and glow, as if the darkness itself had learned to dance. Dolphins use tools such as sponges to protect their snouts. In the shallow waters of Shark Bay in Australia, researchers made a remarkable discovery. Some dolphins use tools. Certain females gather sea sponges from the ocean floor and place them over their beaks like protective gloves. With these sponges covering their snouts, the dolphins probe the sandy seabed in search of hidden fish. The sponge protects their sensitive skin from sharp rocks and stinging animals buried in the sand. Even more fascinating, this behavior is not instinctive. It is learned. Young dolphins observe their mothers performing the technique and gradually copy it themselves. Over time, this knowledge spreads through families and social groups. Scientists now refer to this behavior as dolphin culture. Different dolphin communities develop different traditions, passing knowledge from one generation to the next. It is a powerful reminder that intelligence in the ocean can be social, creative, and deeply complex. Beneath the surface, these playful animals are not simply hunters. They are learners, teachers, inventors. Leatherback turtles can dive deeper than many whales. The leatherback sea turtle is the largest turtle on Earth. Unlike other turtles, it does not have a rigid shell made of bone. Instead, its back is covered with a flexible, leathery carapace that bends under pressure. This unusual design allows the leatherback to dive astonishingly deep, sometimes descending more than 4,000 feet below the ocean's surface, deeper than many species of whales. In the cold darkness far below, the turtle searches for its favorite prey, jellyfish. Inside its throat are rows of backward-pointing spines that help trap the slippery animals as they are swallowed. To survive such depths, the leatherback's body has evolved remarkable physiological adaptations. Its blood chemistry helps conserve oxygen. Its large body retains heat even in freezing water. And its powerful flippers propel it through the ocean with slow, graceful strokes. When the turtle eventually rises back to the surface, it releases a long breath of mist into the air. A breath drawn from the deep. Leatherbacks travel enormous distances across the oceans, yet they often return to the very beaches where they were born. Journeys written into memory older than civilization. Seahorses have prehensile tails like monkeys. Drifting upright among swaying seagrass, the seahorse moves with a calm elegance that feels almost dreamlike. Unlike most fish, it does not rely on speed or sudden bursts of motion. Instead, it relies on stillness. Its tail is prehensile, meaning it can curl and grip objects, much like the tail of a monkey. When currents grow strong, the seahorse anchors itself to seaweed or coral by wrapping its tail around the plant. This structure is not only flexible, but extremely strong. The tail is built from square, interlocking, bony plates that make it resistant to crushing forces while still allowing graceful movement. Engineers studying this design have even used it as inspiration for robotic arms and flexible protective armor. In the delicate form of the seahorse lies a remarkable piece of natural engineering, a creature designed not for speed or power, but for patience, for holding gently to its place in a constantly moving world. Some clams can live for over 500 years. Hidden beneath layers of sand, the ocean quahog lives one of the longest lives known in the animal kingdom. Scientists have discovered individuals more than 5 centuries old. When some of these clams were born, the Renaissance had barely begun. Their shells grow slowly over time, adding new layers each year. Like the rings of a tree, these layers record the passage of time. Inside the shell, the clam's metabolism moves at an incredibly slow pace. Its life unfolds gradually, almost imperceptibly. These clams feed by filtering microscopic plankton from the surrounding water. With each slow breath, they draw in nutrients from the ocean itself. Their shells also preserve chemical clues about past climates, allowing scientists to study environmental changes stretching back hundreds of years. Few creatures embody patience so completely. Their quiet existence reminds us that endurance can be one of nature's greatest strengths. Certain crabs wave their claws to attract mates like flags. Along warm tropical shores, the sand seems to flicker with tiny movements. Male fiddler crabs stand at the entrances of their burrows, each carrying one enormous claw that looks almost comically oversized compared to the rest of its body. With careful rhythm, they begin to wave this claw back and forth in the air. To human eyes, the motion may appear random, but to the female crabs watching nearby, these gestures are precise signals of strength, health, and vitality. Each species of fiddler crab performs its own unique waving pattern, like a dance written into instinct. The claw flashes in the sunlight, catching the light like a tiny semaphore flag. Females watch these displays carefully, choosing mates whose movements are the most energetic and graceful. If rival males approach too closely, the waving can quickly turn into combat. Claws clash like miniature sabers until one retreats. Yet the delicate waving itself, the strange, elegant flag of life, is what ensures the next generation. On some beaches, thousands of fiddler crabs perform these dances at once. The sand becomes alive with countless tiny performers moving in rhythm beneath the hum of the tide. Sea slugs can photosynthesize like plants. One of the most extraordinary creatures in the ocean is the emerald sea slug, Elysia chlorotica. Its bright green color does not come from ordinary pigments. Instead, it comes from sunlight. This unusual sea slug consumes algae and steals the chloroplasts from the plants it eats. Chloroplasts are the structures that allow plants to perform photosynthesis, converting sunlight into energy. Rather than digesting them completely, the slug stores these chloroplasts inside its own cells. With these stolen structures, the animal can produce energy from sunlight just like a plant. Scientists call this process kleptoplasty, which literally means stealing plastids. For months at a time, the sea slug can survive without food simply by absorbing sunlight through its body. Its leaf-like shape helps it blend perfectly among seaweed, hiding it from predators. The emerald sea slug exists somewhere between two worlds, part animal, part plant. A reminder that evolution does not always respect the boundaries we imagine. Hammerhead sharks have nearly 360-degree vision. At first glance, the hammerhead shark's head looks unusual, even strange. Its skull stretches outward in a wide horizontal shape known as a cephalofoil, placing its eyes at the far ends of its head. But this unusual design provides an enormous advantage. With eyes positioned so far apart, hammerhead sharks gain a field of vision that approaches 360 degrees. They can see above, below, and across both sides of their bodies simultaneously. The wide head also contains thousands of sensory pores, capable of detecting faint electrical signals produced by prey hidden in sand. When a hammerhead sweeps its head slowly from side to side, It is not wandering, it is scanning, mapping the invisible electrical landscape of the ocean. Despite their intimidating appearance, hammerheads move with surprising grace. At dusk, they sometimes gather into large schools, gliding together through warm tropical waters like silent aircraft. Sleek, precise, and strangely beautiful. Creatures perfectly tuned to the quiet language of the sea. The giant isopod resembles a pillbug from the deep sea. On the dark ocean floor lives a creature that looks oddly familiar. The giant isopod resembles an enormous version of the small pillbugs often found beneath garden stones. Yet these deep-sea scavengers can grow more than a foot long. Their armored bodies gleam pale lavender under deep-sea lights, and their many legs carry them slowly across the sediment. In the deep ocean, food is scarce. When a whale, fish, or squid dies and sinks to the sea floor, it becomes a rare feast. Giant isopods gather to feed on these remains. Because meals are unpredictable, they have evolved the ability to survive for astonishing lengths of time without eating. Some individuals have gone several years between meals. When food finally appears, they gorge themselves until their bodies swell dramatically. Afterward, they return to waiting. Patient, motionless, conserving energy in the cold dark. Though their appearance may seem prehistoric, giant isopods are perfectly adapted to the extreme conditions of the deep sea. Survivors of a world defined by pressure, darkness, and time. Some fish communicate using gas bubbles. Communication in the ocean takes many forms. Some creatures sing, others flash light, and some even use electrical signals. But certain species of herring use something rather unexpected. They release gas bubbles. By expelling small bursts of gas from their swim bladders through specialized ducts, they produce faint, high-pitched sounds. Scientists refer to these noises as fast repetitive ticks, or FRTs. While the name may sound humorous, the behavior appears to serve an important purpose. The sounds may help fish maintain contact with one another when swimming in schools at night. In darkness, when vision becomes limited, these subtle sounds act like whispered signals, a coded message drifting through the water. Even something as simple as a bubble can become a language in the vast communication network of the sea. Electric eels sometimes coordinate their shocks. Electric eels are already remarkable animals on their own, but in recent observations, scientists have discovered something even more fascinating. In certain situations, groups of electric eels appear to coordinate their attacks. When hunting large schools of fish in shallow waters, several eels may gather together. They circle their prey, driving the fish into tight clusters. Then, at nearly the same moment, they release powerful electrical discharges. The combined pulses ripple through the water like a sudden storm of electricity. The stunned fish become easy targets. This kind of coordinated electrical hunting is extremely rare among animals. It suggests a surprising level of cooperation among creatures that were once believed to hunt only alone. A living circuit formed by multiple bodies working together. Male seahorses can release hundreds of babies at once. When the time comes for birth, the male seahorse begins to tremble with effort. inside the pouch on his abdomen, hundreds of tiny seahorses have developed. Then, through powerful muscular contractions, he begins to release them. Dozens, then hundreds of miniature seahorses emerge in swirling clouds. Each one already perfectly formed, tiny tails curling, tiny snouts searching the water. Once released, the young drift away into the open sea. The father's role is complete. For several days afterward, he may rest quietly while his pouch slowly returns to normal. Watching the newborn seahorses spiral upward through beams of sunlight can feel almost magical. A small constellation of new life rising through the water. Some rays leap high into the air for unknown reasons. In tropical oceans, observers sometimes witness a spectacular sight. Massive manta rays and mobula rays suddenly launch themselves out of the water. Their wings spread wide as they arc through the air before crashing back into the sea with a tremendous splash. The reason for this behavior remains something of a mystery. Some scientists believe the leap may be a form of communication. The loud splash might send signals to other rays over long distances. Others suggest it may be related to courtship or the removal of parasites. Whatever the reason, the moment is unforgettable. A creature weighing hundreds of kilograms suddenly airborne. For a brief instant, the ray becomes a bridge between two worlds, sea and sky, before returning once again to the quiet depths below. Whale sharks have mouths wide enough to swallow a car. The whale shark is the largest fish on Earth. Despite its enormous size, it is a gentle filter feeder. Its mouth can stretch more than 5 feet wide, large enough in theory to swallow something as big as a small car. Yet it feeds only on plankton and tiny marine organisms. Swimming slowly through the ocean, the whale shark opens its mouth and filters thousands of gallons of water. Its specialized gill filters trap microscopic life while the water flows back out. Its skin is patterned with pale spots that resemble a starry sky. Each pattern is unique, like a fingerprint. Divers who swim beside whale sharks often describe a feeling not of fear, but of awe. The massive animal moves with serene calm, like a drifting island. These giants travel across entire ocean basins, following warm currents and seasonal food blooms. They are among the most peaceful giants in the sea, living reminders that immense size does not always mean danger. Some octopuses collect coconut shells for shelter. In the warm tropical waters of the Pacific, a small and clever species known as the veined octopus has developed an unusual survival strategy. These octopuses gather discarded coconut shells from the sea floor. Sometimes they find 2 halves of a broken shell. Carefully, they stack the pieces together and carry them across the sand. When danger approaches, the octopus quickly slips inside and closes the shells around its body, forming a protective shelter. Scientists consider this behavior to be one of the clearest examples of tool use among invertebrates. The octopus is not simply hiding beneath an object, it is carrying the object with it and saving it for future use. Watching one move across the seabed while clutching coconut shells feels strangely familiar. It looks almost like a traveler carrying luggage, a small mind planning ahead. Clownfish can change sex to maintain their social group. In the colorful coral gardens of the Pacific Ocean, clownfish live among the protective tentacles of sea anemones. Each group follows a strict social order. At the top of the hierarchy is the largest fish, a dominant female. Below her is a slightly smaller breeding male. Beneath them are several smaller non-breeding males. But if the dominant female dies, something remarkable happens. The breeding male undergoes a transformation. His hormones shift, his body changes, and he becomes the new female of the group. Then the next largest male moves up the hierarchy and becomes the new breeding partner. This flexible system ensures that the group can always continue reproducing, even when members are lost. In the shifting environment of coral reefs, survival often depends on adaptability. Clownfish demonstrate that nature's solutions can be fluid, dynamic, and surprisingly elegant. Sea otters hold hands while sleeping. Along the cool kelp forests of the Pacific coast, sea otters float on their backs as they rest. Often they gather together in groups known as rafts. While sleeping, they sometimes hold onto strands of kelp to keep themselves anchored in place. But they also hold onto each other. By linking paws, they prevent themselves from drifting apart in the moving currents. This behavior helps the group remain together and safe throughout the night. Sea otters have incredibly dense fur, more than 1 million hairs per square inch, which traps warm air against their bodies. Before sleeping, they spend long periods grooming their coats, ensuring the insulating air layer remains intact. Then they drift quietly in the kelp beds, floating gently beneath moonlit waves, their paws linked together in the slow rhythm of the sea. Squid can rewrite their own genetic code. Among the most surprising discoveries in modern biology involves certain species of squid. These animals possess the remarkable ability to edit their own RNA. RNA is the molecular instruction set that tells cells how to build proteins. In most animals, the instructions written in DNA remain relatively fixed. But squid can modify their RNA instructions while their cells are actively using them. This process allows them to adjust the structure of proteins within their nervous systems almost instantly. As ocean temperatures shift or environmental conditions change, squid can rapidly fine-tune their biology. It is almost like rewriting the software of life while the program is already running. This extraordinary ability may help explain how squid thrive across such a wide range of ocean environments, from warm coastal waters to the cold darkness of the deep sea. In the great theater of evolution, squid are not just participants. They are editors of their own biological scripts. Some fish live inside sea cucumbers. One of the ocean's strangest relationships involves a slender fish known as the pearlfish. Pearlfish often live inside the body of sea cucumbers. They enter through the animal's rear opening and take shelter within its digestive cavity. During the day, the fish remains safely hidden inside. At night, it emerges to search for food before returning to its unusual home. In some cases, 2 pearlfish may share the same host. Though the arrangement may seem uncomfortable from a human perspective, the sea cucumber often tolerates the fish without serious harm. For the pearlfish, the host provides protection from predators, a living shelter in the vast and dangerous ocean. Archer fish can shoot water with astonishing accuracy. In the mangrove forests of Southeast Asia lives a remarkable hunter, the archer fish. These fish patrol the water's surface while watching carefully for insects resting on leaves above the water. When one spots its target, the fish adjusts for the way light bends between water and air. Then it fires a narrow jet of water from its mouth. The stream strikes the insect with surprising precision, knocking it from the branch and into the water. Archer fish can hit targets several feet away. Young fish must practice this skill repeatedly before mastering it. Their accuracy improves over time as they learn the complex physics of refraction. It is a remarkable example of instinct and learning working together. Certain worms consume whale bones. When a whale dies and sinks into the deep ocean, its body becomes the center of a temporary ecosystem. This event is known as a whale fall. Among the creatures that arrive are strange animals called osedacs, sometimes referred to as bone-eating worms. These delicate organisms resemble tiny underwater flowers. They have no mouths and no stomachs. Instead, they grow root-like structures that burrow into the whale's bones. Inside these roots live symbiotic bacteria that break down fats and proteins within the bone. Through this partnership, the worms gain nourishment. The remains of a whale can sustain entire communities of organisms for decades. Even in death, the whale continues to support life. Beluga whales can mimic human speech patterns. Beluga whales are often called the canaries of the sea because of their rich variety of local sounds. But one particular beluga surprised researchers with an extraordinary talent. A beluga named Nock, living in a research facility, began producing sounds that resembled human speech. Divers working nearby reported hearing what sounded like distant voices underwater. At first, they believed another person was speaking. Eventually, they discovered the sounds were coming from the whale. Belugas possess flexible lips and complex nasal structures that allow them to manipulate sound in unusual ways. Although they do not truly speak human language, their ability to mimic speech rhythms suggests a deep curiosity and vocal flexibility. Their voices echo through Arctic waters in whistles, clicks, and pulses. A living symphony beneath the ice. Some shrimp glow in ultraviolet light. Hidden among coral branches are shrimp whose bodies reveal secret colors under ultraviolet light. To human eyes, they appear ordinary, but under UV illumination, their shells blaze with brilliant fluorescent patterns, greens, blues, and reds swirling across their bodies. Many marine animals can see ultraviolet light, allowing these shrimp to communicate in a hidden spectrum invisible to humans. The glowing patterns may help individuals recognize mates or warn rivals. To the creatures of the reef, these signals are bright and obvious. To us, they remain invisible. A secret language written in wavelengths beyond human sight. The oarfish can grow longer than a bus. One of the ocean's most mysterious animals is the oarfish. This long, ribbon-like fish can grow more than 30 feet in length, making it one of the longest bony fish on Earth. Its silver body glides through the deep ocean with slow, undulating movements. For centuries, sightings of oarfish inspired stories of sea serpents. Sailors who glimpsed their long bodies near the surface believed they had encountered legendary monsters. In truth, the oarfish is a gentle creature that feeds mainly on plankton and small drifting animals. It usually lives in deep water, far from human eyes. Occasionally, sick or dying individuals wash ashore, giving people a rare glimpse of this strange and beautiful animal. A silver ribbon drifting between myth and reality. Horseshoe crabs have blue blood rich in copper. Along ancient shorelines, horseshoe crabs crawl slowly through the surf. These unusual creatures have existed for hundreds of millions of years, surviving mass extinctions and the shifting of continents. Unlike most animals, their blood is not red, it is blue. Instead of iron-based hemoglobin, horseshoe crabs use a copper-based molecule called hemocyanin to transport oxygen through their bodies. When exposed to oxygen, this copper-rich fluid turns a striking shade of blue. Even more remarkable, their blood possesses an extraordinary sensitivity to bacterial toxins. Modern medicine depends on this property. A compound derived from horseshoe crab blood is used to test every vaccine, intravenous drug, and surgical implant for contamination. Without this natural detector, many medical procedures would be far riskier. Though their appearance seems almost alien, with domed shells and long spiked tails, horseshoe crabs are gentle scavengers. Each night they emerge from the ocean under moonlight, carrying with them a chemistry that quietly protects human health. Ancient creatures bridging the prehistoric sea and the modern world. Mantis shrimp can see polarized light invisible to us. To human eyes, the rainbow ends at violet, but for the mantis shrimp, color continues far beyond what we can perceive. These small but powerful crustaceans possess up to 16 different types of photoreceptors in their eyes. Humans have only 3. With this expanded visual system, mantis shrimp can detect ultraviolet light, polarized light, and even circularly polarized light, forms of illumination that most animals cannot perceive. Their vision allows them to detect patterns and signals hidden from other creatures. Some mantis shrimp even display special markings on their shells that reflect polarized light, forming secret visual messages visible only to others of their kind. To the mantis shrimp, the ocean may appear as a dazzling kaleidoscope of colors and dimensions far richer than anything humans experience. A reminder that reality itself depends on the eyes through which it is seen. Some flatfish rearrange their skulls as they grow. A young flatfish begins life looking like any other fish. Its body is symmetrical, with one eye on each side of its head. But as it grows, something extraordinary happens. One eye slowly migrates across the skull to join the other side. The bones of the head shift and twist until both eyes sit on the same side of the body. Once the transformation is complete, the fish settles sideways onto the seafloor. From that moment forward, it lives with both eyes facing upward, while the other side of its body rests against the sand. Species such as flounder and halibut spend most of their lives partially buried in sediment, perfectly camouflaged against the ocean floor. To scientists, this dramatic transformation is one of the most remarkable examples of developmental evolution. A body reshaping itself to match a life lived in stillness. Certain sharks can detect heartbeats. Sharks possess one of the most sensitive sensory systems in the ocean. Along their snouts and heads are tiny gel-filled pores known as the ampullae of Lorenzini. These organs allow sharks to detect faint electrical fields generated by other living animals. Every heartbeat, every muscle contraction produces tiny electrical signals. Sharks can sense these signals even when prey is hidden beneath sand or swimming in total darkness. Some species can detect electric currents as small as 1/1000th of a volt. To a shark, the ocean becomes a glowing map of invisible energy. Every creature leaves a signature, a pulse of life moving through the water. Tuna can swim faster than Olympic sprinters. Tuna are among the fastest swimmers in the ocean. Some species can reach speeds approaching 50 miles per hour, far faster than any human could swim. Their bodies are shaped like living torpedoes, smooth, muscular, and perfectly streamlined. Retractable fins fold into grooves along their sides, reducing drag as they slice through the water. Unlike most fish, tuna are partially warm-blooded. Specialized blood vessels help retain heat generated by their muscles, allowing them to maintain high performance even in cold water. This unique physiology enables tuna to sustain powerful bursts of speed and long-distance migrations across entire oceans. Watching a school of tuna move through clear blue water is like watching pure motion itself. Energy shaped into living form. Some squid launch themselves out of the water like rockets. Certain species of squid possess an ability that seems almost impossible. They can fly. When threatened by predators or pursuing prey, these squid expel powerful jets of water from their siphons. By angling the jet downward, they launch themselves into the air above the ocean's surface. Once airborne, their fins spread wide like wings. They glide for surprising distances, sometimes dozens of feet, before splashing back into the sea. High-speed cameras have even revealed that some species adjust their fins mid-air, subtly controlling their flight path. This unusual behavior may help squid travel quickly while using less energy than swimming. For a few brief seconds, a creature evolved for life in water experiences the freedom of air. Dolphins sleep with half their brain awake. Dolphins face a unique challenge. Unlike humans, they must consciously return to the surface to breathe. If they were to fall into deep sleep like we do, they might drown. Nature solved this problem with an elegant adaptation. Dolphins sleep with only half of their brain at a time. While one hemisphere rests, the other remains awake, controlling breathing and monitoring the environment. The open eye on the active side of the brain continues scanning the water for danger. After several hours, the two halves switch roles. This phenomenon is known as unihemispheric sleep. It allows dolphins to rest while still remaining aware of their surroundings. Even in sleep, they remain graceful navigators of the ocean. The gulper eel can swallow prey half its size. Among the strangest inhabitants of the deep sea is the gulper eel. Its body is long and slender, but its mouth is enormous, far larger than its head. The jaws can expand dramatically, forming a wide pouch capable of engulfing prey nearly half the eel's own size. In the food-scarce depths of the ocean, such an adaptation can mean survival. Its tail ends in a small glowing organ that acts as a lure, attracting curious prey. When an animal approaches, the eel opens its huge mouth and swallows it whole. After feeding, the gulper eel drifts quietly once again through the darkness. A patient hunter in a world where meals are rare. Coral polyps are animals that build entire reefs. Coral reefs may appear to be rock formations, but they are actually built by countless tiny animals known as coral polyps. Each polyp is a soft-bodied creature no larger than a grain of rice. Over time, these animals secrete limestone skeletons beneath themselves. Layer upon layer accumulates. Over centuries, entire underwater landscapes form. Coral reefs can stretch for hundreds of miles and support an extraordinary diversity of life. Nearly 1/4 of all marine species depend on coral ecosystems. Within their tissues live microscopic algae that convert sunlight into energy, forming a delicate partnership between plant-like organisms and animal hosts. During the night, coral polyps extend their tentacles to capture drifting plankton. Reefs are living cities, built slowly by cooperation. Monuments constructed grain by grain across thousands of years. Sea angels are transparent swimming snails. In the cold waters near the poles, tiny creatures known as sea angels drift gracefully through the ocean. They are a type of swimming snail. Their bodies are nearly transparent, and their wing-like appendages beat slowly as they glide through the water. Despite their delicate appearance, sea angels are predators. They hunt another small creature, known as the sea butterfly. Their transparent forms make them nearly invisible against the surrounding water. When sunlight filters through the ice above, their bodies glow softly, like floating spirits. Creatures of fragile beauty and quiet resilience. And now, as the tides settle and the ocean grows calm again, the world beneath the waves continues its quiet rhythm. Corals breathe slowly in the darkness. Manta rays glide through moonlit water. Plankton drift like tiny constellations through the sea. From the smallest shrimp to the largest whale, every creature moves to the same ancient rhythm. A lullaby older than mountains, steady as the tide itself. Tonight, you wandered through coral cities and frozen seas, through glowing depths and silent migrations. You encountered lives shaped by patience, adaptation, and quiet wonder. And even now, as you rest, the ocean continues, vast, calm, alive, rolling endlessly beneath the surface of the earth. There is something comforting about that thought. While we sleep, the sea keeps its quiet watch. Timeless, tireless, full of life that neither rushes nor waits. So as your eyes close, imagine yourself drifting gently through that tranquil blue, weightless, silent, carried softly by the slow rhythm of the waves. Above you, the light fades into silver. Below you, darkness glows with faint, living sparks. The ocean holds you without hurry, without demand, an endless cradle of motion. Breathe slowly, like the tide returning to shore. Let your thoughts drift like sand beneath the waves. The sea is still here, endless, patient, kind. And if you are still awake, perhaps you will continue the journey in another video. But if sleep has already found you, let it carry you deeper, past the waves, past the light, into the quiet heart of the sea itself. May your dreams move with the rhythm of the water, and may they carry you gently to places where wonder never ends. Good night.